Hey. Mic check sounds good. Just send out a tweet here. Do a quick 30. Honestly, there's not much to say. I wish there was stuff to say. There really isn't. Because we've been bearish on trend for a few days here now. Market is definitely brutal, so I will give you that. I will give you that. Where's the stupid link to this thing? Hold on, sorry guys and gals. Thanks for stopping in, saying hi. Let me find the link. Where are you? There you are. It should be on Twitter. I saw Zelva. What's up, Zelva? I saw Zelva say hello from Twitter, so that's nice. That's working. That's good. If you want me to look at anything specifically, let me know. But for the most part, if BTC, this is a forever principle. If BTC is angry, it is unlikely for alts to randomly do well. Obviously, there are exceptions, as we've seen recently with Zcash, maybe Monero. Monero's always been kind of weird. It's always kind of inversely correlated. So if BTC is mostly bullish over the past 10 years, most of the time, then you don't want to sit in something that's inverse to BTC. But obviously, in times like this, when BTC is doing what it's doing, then you want a volatility shield. But it just depends what you're looking for. Where the Monero people come after me, it hasn't historically been a store of value. So, just is what it is. It's a great transaction mechanism, but not a store of value. Not based on what we've seen. Sep is here. Johnny's here. More, maybe I don't know what that means. Bitcoin. Sent you a nice chart on Twitter. I'll have to take a look. Is there any light or is it all over? Short opportunity doesn't. Oh, yeah, on Oklo specifically, I've been so busy I haven't pulled the trigger on any of the short stuff. All right, so for BTC, how can we find a bullish viewpoint here? We do have, at least trying. Again, we're just looking for stuff on the bullish side. We do have a series of lower lows on RSI. RSI is not in oversold territory yet. That's fine, but we want to see some sort of divergence here, which we haven't seen. A great example of that, again, most of this stuff is right on the chart, right? If we look at April and March, what did we have? We had a huge lower low in March. And we had another lower low in April on less momentum. This is the daily, it's a high time frame. This is what you want to see. So far, this RSI just looks like it's trending lower. We're not quite getting a divergence yet. I mean, it's maybe starting a little bit today, but it's too close to call. That's not, in my opinion, something you want to trade on. You want to trade on. If we dial back the clock, can I go back here? It's loading. Yeah. So if we go back here, if I'm trading on something, this is what it's going to look like. You're gonna have a lower low after X period of time on less momentum. In this case, we also had some sort of gross pattern. But if you're looking from a probability perspective, that's what I would want to see. So we don't quite have that here. Now, is there a chart pattern here is the question. Potentially, as many people have drawn, we're getting falling wedge territory on BTC. I'm not going to disagree with that, but do we get the puke? Do we get the parabolic puke that we so often see on alts, that we see in anything crypto related? Maybe. Something like this. Something else to look for, obviously, is volume. But is there anything today that, to me, that's screaming buy? Still no. I need a pattern. I need a div. I need a cloud. What else? What else can we even look at here? I just don't see. I don't see anything in the moment. Something else you could say as well, if this was a, let me just get out the drawing tool here. If this was a head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders here, and it's a failed inverted head and shoulders, we can measure it in the opposite direction to find a potential target. It's messy already because the neckline is all over the place. What do you use? Do you use this? Do you use that? So we are in the wheelhouse of the expected move based on the measured move of a failed inverted head and shoulders. We have that on our side. We also still have, I don't know how real this is anymore, because again, we're kind of on the bounds of where you'd expect this to move, but we still have some sort of megaphone thing trying. Just turning on. What does the algo here say on TradingView for this zone? It does call it a falling wedge. Looks pretty odd, but it is calling it a falling wedge. So at least it's getting picked up on the algo. It's also picking up this massive rising wedge. Anyway, I don't feel confident enough personally to like buy here, to load the boat here, to take a trade here. That's just me. I don't see anything. I don't see anything at all. And that's Bitcoin, right? That's the top of the stack. So if there's an alt that has a setup, it's got to look pretty good. It's got to have a trend that looks pretty good to fight this off, because this is ugly. And we can look at the SPY too. The SPY on the daily is back at the daily key June. At first glance, this is fine. It's not super bearish. It does have a divergence here. You got higher highs in price, lower lows in RSI, so that's a momentum divergence. As some people have pointed out, maybe this is a head and shoulders here. Maybe it's just a vanilla double top here. Fine, whatever it is. It doesn't scream bullish in the moment. It's also kind of just a garbled mess. You know, it's not, I don't think, to me, it's convincingly bearish enough to just be bearish. Like the generic expectation here is the trend is your friend until the end, and we're not at the end yet until this rolls over on the TK cross, in my opinion. And you can backtest this on every single trend we've seen for the past 20 years on the S&P, whatever you want to do. It's fair to get bearish if we get a TK cross. Do we have that on SMH? No. Qs? No. I think we do have it on IWM. Yeah, so we are going to get, despite the bounce today, on IWM, we are going to get a TK cross. That's the cloud's way of saying anything that you were long from back here this is the exit signal. Regardless of where this goes going forward, that's the exit signal. And if the IWM is ETH should look similar, which it does. It clearly looks worse than IWM. But ETH is still, as this old parabola that I've got drawn here, ETH is still stuck in this parabolic down move. ETH also trying to put in a div here. Not super convincing, not fully there quite yet. For those who don't know, RSI is based on the close, so you do have to look at the line chart, not the candles chart. You cut off the wicks if you're looking at the candle chart. We do have a lower low on a higher RSI. That is technically a div. But ultimately, you got to get out of this funk, right? Whatever this is. Because right now we're in this parabolic down move. And we can call this a falling wedge. I bet that's what the algo calls it. What is it saying? Double bottom? A little early for that. We're as a human, we're gonna call that a falling wedge, or falling wedge variant, whatever. To me, the most appropriate time to take that trade, to pull the trigger, isn't until we break out of the parabola, right? So in this case, probably 3,600. Ultimately, the cloud is the true north. So anything above the cloud, I love it. And anything forever, always, until the end of time. That's the safest trade to take. If we want to be bullish and optimistic, take the high, take the current low, we can say there is a path potentially for a move to 6 to 8K, but it's going to take so many steps first to get there. To me, it's worth it to just wait. Like, who cares? You can take the trade, have a stop loss at lower lows. You can always do that as well, right? We could say, let's just start longing ETH at some decent size that's not full size to take a guess. We could say, okay, we're going to start longing today. Super early. Highly likely that this is completely wrong, right? But this is how I would do it if I was trading this today. I'd say, okay, I've got, again, we're about actionability here on this channel. maybe I'd take 15% of my full size. We've been volatile. We've been all over the place. Who knows, right? Who the hell knows what happens here? Stop loss is at lower lows. And then we add, maybe we double it. We add another 30% up here. And then once we're above the cloud, maybe we add another 30. That's 75. And then once we get back into the 4K range, we add another 25. That would be one way to play this. But that takes extreme patience. Extreme patience. But this, to me, this is not an environment where you're just going to blindly buy stuff at 10x and hope for the best, because we've seen skew to the downside. We've seen everything to the downside. That just is what it is, right? So you can try to guess, try to be right. I would size it way down. If you are right, despite being a lower size, you'll be paid off, right? And you can always add more, right? You can always add more. So this to me, this situation is much different than any obvious breakout level, where there's a clear line, there's a clear level. The loading zone for this was like in here, right? And you want to be fully long at the breakout, by the breakout. This is like, we're guessing. This could be right, this could be way wrong, who knows? We could go to 2000. The place I like leverage, options, calls, whatever, DAT stuff, would be here. And then ultimately, the safest leverage is up here. And people will say, but Josh, breakouts have been punished at that level for years. You're right. You're right. That's the risk you take. As a breakout trader, that's the risk you take. But that's why you have some of this stuff already loaded and you're happy with it. Maybe it's spot, right? Whatever. You don't have to go crazy. But that's how I would treat this right now, personally, on the ETH side. And for BTC, we could do the same exercise. We could say, what if this is a falling wedge? We don't have a div. We don't have a pattern, really. We really don't have anything here, you know? But we've basically made a new lower low kind of like every week or every other week. So let's just blindly guess. Call this a falling wedge. Call this a divergence. We're going to start opening along here at low size, assuming we're going to be wrong. I wouldn't want to add till like 106, and then I would add more at 116. That's one way. If I had to take a trade on this, that's how I would do it. Not super confident in that. Anyway, that's Bitcoin and ETH. This is the. Hold on, can you see it? It's the Canary Capital beanie. Have you checked divergence for many factors? I have not. What's up, Karen? Is the 50-week MA important? I think everything's important. It depends. Are you long term? Are you short term? Have you been here since COVID? Have you been here since before COVID? Are you sitting on a? Why does it do that to my chart? It locks them all in. Are you sitting on a massive bag? Do you have something to pay for that's coming up? Are you uncertain about the future and need cash now? That's a personal question. This is the pitchfork. The pitchfork says, hey, whatever we supported in the past 2 years isn't supporting now. So I think, you know, if you read up on like Pitchfork rules, if you break the midpoint, the expectation is essentially like an edge-to-edge equivalent of the other side of the pitchfork. And if we turn on, if we go back to this, if we turn on the 50 week, 20 week, I had that somewhere in here. That's the 50 and 200 day. We're getting a death cross, fine, whatever. I don't really care about that personally. 20 week, 50 week. Like none of this is bullish, to be clear, right? That's why on daily time frame bearish, on weekly time frame bearish, at least in the moving averages. Cloud, you have tons of leeway on the cloud still. Cloud still likes 93 as a support, but this is going to be slow, right? Like we could be at 75, and the cloud's going to say, "Oh, maybe we're still trending," right? It's going to take a minute to turn the oil tanker around on the weekly, but this is just another reason why sizing up on low time frames on to the long side doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So you kind of have to take this day by day. You know, it's leaning bearish. It is bearish. We're trading as though we're bearish. We keep selling off. I don't, you know, there's very little left that's bullish at this point. We're over 1,000 days from the low. We've got whale selling. We've got China selling. What else? We've got quantum FUD. So if we can pull up, great. You know, then we can talk about highs and stuff. But we're just not there. We're just not there. Just not there. And we haven't been. We haven't been there since October 29th. Since 1010, realistically, this whole market has just been completely broken. If we look at the AI cloud has had us bearish since mid-October. You know, there were attempts that were made. Just is what it is. On the BTC side. Yeah, I'm holding cold storage. I've held cold storage for a long time. So no, the only price I'm selling is at the 2-year moving average multiplier. That's me. That should not be you. Everyone needs to make their own decisions, right? If you've got lifestyle stuff going on, fine. If you want to try to sell here and buy lower, fine, right? Don't listen to me. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. So I wouldn't be selling personally until we're up in this region. And we may never see that in my lifetime. I don't know, right? Who knows? But the fact that there's a possibility of that is why I just don't care. I just don't care on the cold storage side. But that should not be everyone's answer. Can I give you some opium? I cannot. Merch store needed. So I think we have a merch store. It's just not public. You look at Uni and Useless. Uni, I guess let's look at Sol too, because people were asking the other day, because I didn't bring it up because they're just, again, what is there to talk about? No pattern, no div. We won't even talk about the weekly, but do we have a div? That's the first thing. Maybe we have a div. It's going to delete all that. Maybe we have a div starting, maybe. It's early, right? Maybe this is a dragonfly. Maybe this is a falling wedge. Closer, I think, probably to a channel than a wedge. But we could do the same exercise we did for BTC and ETH. We could say, okay, I want to try to take a stab here. This feels like a low. There's my stop loss. There's my entry. I'd add at 170. I'd add more at 206, 205. But this is not a bullish picture. This is not we expect bullish momentum territory on technicals at all. So, you know, it's like next chart, right? There's nothing to say, nothing to do. If there was a pattern here, if there was anything going on, it should be pretty obvious. And this is just kind of a mess. So then people say, okay, what about the weekly? What about the 4 hour? What about, like, you know, again, what is there is there anything that's clean here? What about a cup and handle? Let's just play the game. Well, that entry is 250. Next question. What about a head and shoulders? Right? I've seen this pop up a lot. If this is a head and shoulders, you do not want this going below 120, 100. That's the level. That's the get out of town level. So it's a personal question. If we get to that level, what are you going to do if you're holding? Nothing? Fine. That's fine. You don't have to. The risk is like 50. That's the risk. So if you're okay with that, that's fine. But we're clearly back in bear territory on the weekly. Really the first time, if we go to Binance, excluding March, this is the first time we're in bear territory on the weekly since we broke out in 2023, you know? It's just not a good place to be on high time frames or the daily. So again, I have nothing bullish here. I just don't. If this bounces, if we put in a falling wedge or something, then we can talk. But there's nothing here. There's nothing here. I don't see it. I got nothing. So that's BTC, ETH, and Sol. Ripple as well. Ripple probably holding up a little bit better. But even if we go just to the uni chart, I think someone was posting... like this thing. I just don't ever, anytime I see that on anything, I don't care what it is, in any environment, if this ends up being real or not, that is not long to me. Not only that, this isn't a multi-year range still. What about this is tradable? Okay, they turned on a fee switch. Cool. Show me on the chart where that matters. I don't see it. I don't see it. Right, next chart. Okay, that's all there is to do. The cloud is clearly telling you we're still below the cloud. The level's 12. Let's set an alert. 12 may never happen, but that's the level. For now, there is a bearish risk here. For sure. Just like there was a bullish risk over here when we were trying to pattern out something into the cloud, whatever. But there's just nothing to do. And I will entertain this one just because yeah, I would this would be a massive avoid for me. Useless. I don't know who's got the best data on this, but if anything after BTC on the market cap list does well, it's probably because BTC is at the very least sideways. At the very least. We get to 74K. Well, that's the thing, as Mike says in the chat. You just have to have a plan, right? My plan is selling no cold storage at all. My plan is, at the moment, buying nothing, doing nothing, sitting on my hands. That's my plan. I've got cash that I'm happy with. I've got the trade basket is in other stuff. It has some BTC, it has some ETH. But I'm not adding to this until we start to turn around. I don't feel it yet. AI Weekly. Cycles are over, Bitcoin's in a bubble. I mean, this is how people get sentiment-wise, no matter what, when we're going down. Once you've been here a few years, this is a Wednesday, this is a Thursday. It just is what it is. Do I think the cycle's over? I think we're still in 4-year cycles because that's what the people selling think. The people selling think the cycle's over. Who cares what you think? Who cares what I think? What does the price tell you? what do the large holders, what are they saying? Are people on the ETF side loading the boat here? Not yet. On chain, based on what we can see, are people selling a lot? Absolutely. So you can say, this isn't directed toward whoever's asking me the question, sorry. This isn't directed toward them. It's just like, look, what is the price telling you? Price pays. So you can think whatever you want about 4-year cycles, and we've got a Fed governor coming in who's probably going to bring rates to zero. We've got stimmies maybe. Okay, that's fine. That's like a medium long-term view. What does it appear as though is happening here right now? Does this look like people are buying? No, it does not. It does not. Zcash feels like, you know, a flavor of the week to me. That's all I got. Lucid did the breakout. I am still holding Boyle. How's it looking? Boyle looks good. Boyle looks good. This is what you'd want any chart to look like, right? Like, it just so happens to be natural gas, yada, yada, yada. But this to me is a longable, addable chart. This exact setup, this exact picture. You've got a pattern, you've got a cloud that we're moving through after a multi-month downtrend. I bet if we measure this, did we get to the target? We did. So if we take this pattern and we measure the expected move, we did get into the range, which was down here. That was the range. So to me, we're kind of seeing what you'd expect. We hit the level, then what? We tried to consolidate, now we're trying to break out. Target here isn't massive, it's basically just the edge to edge, but you could see more than that afterward. But this is at a time when there's not really much to do elsewhere, you know? That's why I like it. Lucid. It broke out? I think it broke down, bruh. That's not bullish. It's the same thing, right? Like, do I buy lower lows as a rule? No. There's got to be a pattern. There's got to be a div. To me, there's neither of that here. If anything, you've got like a bearish channel. There's nothing here. Nothing at all. How's Figs doing? Figs looks like Zeke. Looks okay. Rivian. Rivian's back in there, but it's at the top of the range rather than the bottom. I don't know. I'm patient. Oklo, someone was asking on the short side. Yeah, Oklo, I don't know what day I posted it, but there was very clearly two things happening here. We hit the expected move on the cup and handle. Second thing is we had this head and shoulders pop up. At this point, you're probably way late on taking a short, but that was the justification on the daily. You also have on your side here the cloud rolling over, bearish GK cross. So the expectation is not that this magically bounces. That's not the expectation. What about Reddit? Reddit was the other one. Yeah, so Reddit has kind of chopped around more at the neckline. But if I had to, if I had to pick a trade long or short on these, it would be short, absolutely. Cores, yeah, Cores I probably should have tossed. Cores I should have tossed on Wednesday. Another one that broke out and then pulled back, right? Just based on market conditions, honestly, that's what it feels like. So I'm still holding this even though I shouldn't be. Oh, bio. Yeah, some of the biotech stuff has held up quite well at a time when the riskier stuff has not done well. What's the ticker? LabVIEW. Look at LabVIEW. What a Chad. What an absolute Chad. It's getting probably a div. Yeah, it definitely has a div up here. I don't think there's a trade on this at the moment because it looks quite tired, but it's done really well. How's DXY doing? Nothing. Consolidating. So, all in all, we can XP. We can go through the list in 5 seconds. XPeng looks good. I like it. So you're either of the mind that everything's risk off, everything's going to keep selling off, all breakouts are going to fail, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and wait. I think that's an appropriate mindset. Another thing to think about is maybe some of the stuff just randomly outperforms for whatever reason, and that's what you want to be trading. But I wouldn't be buying lows on anything expecting some magical bounce just yet. All right, so let's just go through this on the daily, then we'll call it. ETH we talked a lot about, nothing there. Sol, nothing there. Ripple theoretically has this head and shoulders to think about. It's also above the cloud. It's done better than most alts post 1010. So I don't think it's screaming one way or the other, but maybe something to watch on the back burner if you're looking for trades. Say below the cloud, curve below the cloud, H-bar below the cloud, LTC ranging below the cloud, Link below the cloud, Algo below, ETC. See, all of these just haven't recovered from 1010 still. BNB has given it all back from the highs. Nothing there. Aave below. Hype. What about this is bullish? Again, you've got this possibility. If you want to sit in a bearish possibility on the long side, more power to you, but it's not for me. It's not for me. This is a mess. This is gross chop, to be clear, but until this is back above 44, I wouldn't magically expect this to do well. So I do not like hype on the daily. AVAX made lower lows past 1010 already, so that's not great. ADA bearish, R bearish, OP bearish, IMX near also bearish. Okay, Wormhole, Apt, Dot, Ondo. Let's keep going. Flow, Graph, Sui looks not happy. Pith, Ton, Filecoin. Even Filecoin gave all that back. ICP gave it back. FET, Velo. None of this stuff looks happy to be here. Absolutely none of it. Memes, Doge, nope. Shib, Pepe, Bonk, Whiff, Floki. All looks terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I got nothing for you. MSTR, by the way. Do you know how long I've been saying? It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with the cloud. How long I've been saying this thing's below the cloud. Just avoid, 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 avoid. This is why. This is what you're avoiding by just saying, here's my overlay. This is the trend. We're clearly bearish on this. There's just no reason to think about it. There's no reason to trade it. There's probably a div at this point. Oh no, there's not. No div. If we get a lower low, there will be a div, I think, but this is what you're avoiding. This is what you need to remember for any system. Is like, okay, we are in danger zone territory. That might be wrong, but if it's correct, it's possible that this sort of thing happens. So anyway, that's all I got. I got nothing else. Yeah, Joe, I was saying at the open that XMR kind of has traded inverse BTC. If you look at a correlation matrix for whatever reason, Monero is usually inverse to BTC. So as a trade setup, it is something to do. I still like the high time frame charts on Monero. I like the low time frame charts on the daily. But what you do, if you're bullish Monero, honestly, what you don't want is bullish BTC because they tend to move inverse. All right, let's look at the miners too real quick. WGMI, woof, woof. Huge double top, huge Adam and Eve inverse there. You're going to see that on IREN. You can be bullish on the company, you can be bullish on HPC, you can be bullish on all that stuff, but I'm telling you on technicals, if you've been long since 10 on technicals, which I wasn't, but I should have been, not because I didn't believe, but was trading other stuff. If you're long since 10 and this crosses, the cloud is telling you to get out. It may tell you to get back in at 62, but that's the rules. Bitfarms, thankfully I tossed at around, 385 something. Ugly. CleanSpark, ugly. BitDeer, ugly. Wolf, also rolling over. Cypher, rolling over. Where people get themselves into trouble is they see what has happened over the past couple months. They're like, oh, this is a dip worth buying. But this to me is the end of this rally, this multi-month rally. So I wouldn't want to relong this until the cloud tells you to, which would be bullish TK recross price above cloud, or a full reset, which could take months. So I don't see anything near term. Hut, Gross, Riot, Hive, all of these. Marathon never broke out, by the way, for all the marathon bulls out there, all three of you. This never broke out, never got above the weekly, never got anything above 24. That was material. Thanks for playing. So anyway, that's all I got for today. give me a like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. And we'll see you for Setup Sunday. Hopefully with something more to talk about. But yeah, these charts are looking not happy across the board. Not